Okay. Oh shit. All right. Wording in progress. Let's go. All right. My boy and I are going to talk to you about inquiry-based learning. And overall, inquiry-based learning is an educational approach that emphasizes that students actively engage in the learning process with a main focus on questioning, exploration, and investigation. So the main tenets of this are exploring something new, investigating, and having discovery on your own. Because inquiry-based learning requires you to actively engage and learn something new and keep moving on and building on top of that. And as we go along, I'd like you guys to keep in mind of this quote here: develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Anthony J. D'Angelo. Great way to go about your life. It's a great way to learn. I'm going to move on to this next slide here, and Maury, why don't you take on over?
All right, thank you, Sean. So diving more deep into what inquiry-based instructional learning is. So basically, it's an approach where learners actively engage in investigating question problems or scenarios to contrast meaning and develop understanding. It emphasizes exploration, discovery, and critical thinking, with learners taking an active role in their learning process. So, really, inquiry based, you really want to have that discovery type based lesson for your learners. That is very key. Some of our learning objectives for you for y'all is by the end of this session, learners will be able to apply inquiry based learning principles to independently investigate real world problems, formulate hypotheses, gather and analyze relative information, and draw evidence based conclusions. Go ahead, Sean. Show us that three examples.
All right, so we got three quick examples here. I'm gonna let you guys take a second here, read through them. Essentially, it's saying the same thing. Students go out and do something. They learn about something. They discover. They investigate. They come back in to the classroom or to whatever the setting is, and they evaluate. That's the big thing about it is you discover and investigate something, and you evaluate and reflect at the end. So we're move on into advantages and disadvantages, and these five advantages they all work in time with each other. They don't you can't have one without having the other four. Critical thinking, promotes critical thinking by forcing students to engage in the process. Like I said, discovering, investigating, all those kinds of things. But when you force someone to discover, they investigate and they analyze, they start to engage. When they start to engage, they start seeing maybe they see an issue here or issue there, and start developing problem solving skills. And as they start developing problem solving skills, they might say, "Hey, I don't know how to do this, but Maury might know how to do this." And they start collaborating, and it all starts with discovery. And at the end of the line, once you've done those four things, you've created curiosity. You've got some creativity on the line. You've fostered a genuine interest in the topic, and that's one of the main points of inquiry-based learning. Unfortunately, though, as you can see here, it's the same thing, but just kind of in a picture, a real life example. Fortunately, nothing's perfect. Everything's got the problems. Here are the five disadvantages of inquiry-based learning. One, time consuming. Like if I told you to go sit here and do a science experiment with you and a couple of buddies, it must take 3 class periods. That's a long time. I could teach you that in 45 minutes in 1 class period. So unfortunately, though, sometimes you have to take extra time to learn something real good. But as something is, on the hands of the student to discover, sometimes a lot of structure. Sometimes the teacher has to go do something on their own, or can only oversee a couple groups at a time instead of the entire classroom. And sometimes people aren't able to do what they need to do on time and do what they need to do every day of the week. And another one, kind of annoying, is assessment challenges. You can test somebody, but you can't really test a lab. You can make them write a paper about a lab, a report about a lab. You can't test a lab. And another one, this is I think one of the biggest ones, is student frustration. Because if they're just learning on their own, not getting something firsthand, first time they're doing it, they're gonna get frustrated. They're gonna get maybe a little impatient. Now everyone's got the patience to be able to do something 30 times to figure it out. Then they can only do 2 or 3 times and they say, I give up. Well, it makes disadvantages. And of course, excuse me, access and resources. Inner city school is not gonna have the same amount as a private school from the richest county in the country. You know, they're going to have X, Y, Z what they need to do, and the inner school's going to have like one thing to do. What? Operating them? Sorry. Anyways, moving on. This is a little interactive thing you can do on your own time. Maury, why don't you move on to this real quick?
All right. So when to use it and when not to use it. So when to use it, you kind of want to explore complex concepts deeply. Number two is fostering critical thinking and problem solving. Number three, promoting engagement and motivation. Fourth, engaging collaboration and teamwork. You want to emphasize on that fourth point. Fifth is collectively curiosity and love of learning. When not to use it is time constraints. This kind of relates back to the disadvantages. Is time constraints are tight, very tight. Number two, resources are very limited. Number three, students lack readiness or foundation knowledge. Fourth, assessment methods don't align. Fifth, there's resistance to uncertainty and open-end exploration. Go ahead. We're going to move on to how to use it. So how to use it. First, you want to set a clear objective. With any lesson plan, you want to set something very clear to where your learners will understand precisely on what they're going to learn and how they're going to learn it. Number two, introduce the topic and ask open-ended questions. You don't want to go in there hard-hitting with direct question they have nothing or know nothing of. Three, provide resources and support. So this goes back to how much resource do you have? So you want to have that resource on deck for them, for your learners, so that way they can get the best of whatever the set subject is going to be. Fourth, facilitate inquiry activities. You want them to engage. You want them to research and engage in the lesson. Fifth, encourage reflection. So kind of like at the end of the class, you kind of want them to maybe write a paragraph of what they learned that day, and how you can improve on that. Six, assessing learning. Seven, provide feedback. So that goes back to the fifth point. So just do maybe a QR code survey real quick. Be like, hey, before you guys go, click this link and take this 5-minute, 2 to 5 minute survey on how the lesson went. So go ahead, Sean, move into the quiz.
We're going to skip that quiz,
That
they can do it in their
quiz,
own time, make sure they got their things going. We are going to move into the Civil War example. Here's a little bit of information you want to learn about, more of the research base of it. The link's right here. You can go and do your own research and discover it on your own. So, I'm sorry about that. So we're going to essentially go through the process of inquiry-based learning and how you go from beginning to the end to help get students really interactive. So the objective is, for this example, is to teach students the cause and effects of a historical event such as the American Civil War. First thing you're going to do is introduce main topics, main questions. What's the main causes? How does it affect American society? Why do we view this as an important war? Things along those lines. Now, as a teacher, you might want to get people to learn on their own. So you're going to be like, here's the main questions, but I'm going to give you all this academia, all this extra stuff, and that leads us into resources and support. You're going to give them all these sources, primary sources, historical documents, relevant literature, relevant academia. So that when you tell them the questions, they say, hey, here's more. Go read, go discover, go investigate. And once they've investigated, analyzed these sources, they conducted some research, move into some activities. Small group stuff. Hey, now doing some activities, go to a project. Hey, now doing some activities, come up with these 4 people, and you're going to present to the class in the class, show you what you learned and what you've discovered. Maybe you have four people doing the same topic. They all came at different ways. They're going to collaborate and engage with each other to have different perspectives, source information. Maybe things don't align like they need to. You're going to use the problem solving skills to figure it out. Once you've done that, you'll reflect. Once you start reflecting, people realize, hey, here's what we could have done better. But here's why I learned about this, and I really like it, so I'm going to go do it on my own now in the future. And the big thing is make sure they understand what they need to learn, how to learn, how to discover something. Assessment, this could be, like I said, a quick survey. Hey, write 5 things you learned, little half paragraph essay, or a quiz, something small. Nothing major, just something to reinforce the learning, reinforce the engagement. The very end, we have feedback. This is like, hey, you could have done this better in your project. You could have done this better to make your knowledge stronger. Very small step, a very important step. And finally, adjustment. Hey, I as a teacher, maybe something they didn't like, I need to change that in the future. Or hey, I as a student, I need to do this in the future to correct this stuff, to adjust it to make sure we're doing it the right way. And we're gonna slide into this recap right here. And essentially, we want you to learn about the 5 E's. And it's the 5 E's of inquiry. You engage, evaluate, explore, elaborate, and explain. Essentially, this is what we've just taught you and told you about and had you, do. Now I want you to go discover the 5 E's, discover how to do other stuff. A lot of inquiry-based learning. So, Maureen, why don't you tell the major takeaways right quick?
Yep. So major takeaways. Number 1, inquiry-based and structured learning is an approach where learners actively engage. That's where the 5 E's come in play. Engage in investigating questions, problems, or scenarios to construct meaning and develop understanding. 2, the 5 advantages and disadvantages of inquiry-based learning. 3, when not to use it and how to use it and when not to use it. I just want to touch on the 5 E's though real quick, those there, Sean. So in the first phase, this is where you engage. That's that first cycle. So you as the teacher works to gain an understanding of students' prior knowledge and identify in any knowledge gaps. Oh, so you want to make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music. Going to that next phase, that exploration phase, students actively explore new concepts, construct learning experiences. So that's when they're going to get on the web, go on Google Scholar, or go to their Gestar, or go to their academic database. They're going to do some hard research on that set topic, learn about some new concepts, new ideas on that set topic. Going on to the next phase, explain. This is teacher-led phase that helps students synthesize new knowledge and ask questions if they need further clarifications. So basically, hey, this student ran through this research and the teachers are just there to explain, hey, you kind of needed to do this way, or maybe this is not where the point I was trying to get to with this set subject. That's in that explain phase. Going on to elaborate. So this is where students can apply what they learned through the course of their research and development. They can develop this closer with their professor or teacher. Make sure they're on the right sheet of music. Make sure everything's good. And then evaluate, the last one. And then it's going to go first, full circle again. Evaluate. This is where teachers can observe the students and see whether they completed and have completed to grasp the core concepts of what the set subject is. So basically, hey, teachers, professors, hands off. This is prime time for the students. And basically that's full circle going back to engage and everything like that. So we can just move on to any Q&As.
If you're watching this and you've done the stuff and you still have questions, feel free to hit us up on Slack or Canvas if you have to. We'll answer any questions you have. But that'll do it for us, though. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.